Soon, with Sonic's group, Sonic, Applejack, Brayburn, and Little Strongheart ran in a cross shape across the top of Toon Island wall, while Rainbow Dash flew above it, her eyes scanning for the renegade ne'er-do-well. After several minutes of flying straight, the Pegasus spotted a flash of purple and looked to see the mayor standing on top of a fake Eastern dragon's head. She managed to yell, "She's over here!" So before flying after ne'er-do-well, the masked mayor already on the move. Applejack heard Rainbow and saw her break off her flight path to pursue ne'er-do-well. Looking to her left to see where they were going. "They're headed that way," she said. Brayburn looked well and said, "How will we get over there? I don't see any way from here." Sonic called back, "Just keep going. This will take us around, but we'll get there. We'll just have to hurry and keep up with Dash's wings." Applejack, Brayburn, and Little Strongheart started running as fast as they could at that, prompting Sonic to speed up as well. As they neared the end of the wall, they saw figures up ahead standing in their way. "What are those things?" Little Strongheart called as they got closer. Sonic called back, "Egg fires. We could probably crash through them, or we could just go around them. Either way is fine." The egg fires saw the four of them approaching and got into position to stop them. When they were close enough, Applejack and Brayburn leapt over them like they were hurdles, and Sonic and Little Strongheart simply jumped over them, the latter two landing on springs that launched them off the wall, while the former had to run onto the springs. The springs were sent them flying towards a fake Eastern dragon that opened its mouth as they got closer. Sonic landed first and ran down the dragon's length, followed by Little Strongheart, Applejack, and Brayburn. And the dragon's tail, they had to jump onto another dragon, this one having a spring at the end of its tail. This spring sent them flying to the part of a mountain range, at which point gravity began to tuck them back down. Sonic almost panicked when he saw that there was water below them, but relaxed when he saw they were going to land on one of the large boats, all of them grunting as they landed on the ship. Little Strongheart, Applejack, and Brayburn had just recovered from the landing, when the mysterious ne'er-do-well suddenly leapt down from the nearest end of the boat and landed in front of them. Applejack's head snapped up at the sound of ne'er-do-well's landing, and she narrowed her eyes as she dashed towards the masked mayor. "Hold her off there, you!" She looked at ne'er-do-well, but the masked mayor jumped up onto a nearby guardrail, leaving Applejack to grab in the air. As the others moved to help the airplane, ne'er-do-well suddenly leapt up towards the other end of the boat, then leapt off it, landing on the ground up ahead. Rainbow Dash flew down the others a few seconds later, panting. After she caught her breath, she asked, "Did she get away?" Applejack stood up and said, "Unfortunately, she's so slippery, little kiss." Rainbow nodded, "I know. There were these spinning platforms back there, and she kept using them to dodge me." Brayburn groaned, "At this rate, she's gonna go. Why?" Sonic said, "I doubt it. If we can keep her going this way, she's going to end up at a dead end. Well, she'll have nowhere to go, unless she likes doing parachute jumps without parachutes." Little Strongheart asked, "Really? That's a bit reassuring." Rainbow said, "Well, I'll fly up ahead and see if I can keep her going. You guys just follow along, okay?" Sonic nodded, "Sure, Dash." He looked at Applejack, Brayburn, and Little Strongheart and said, "You guys go on ahead. I'm going to check in with Tails real quick." The three of them nodded and they leapt onto the side of the ship, landing in the water as Rainbow Dash flew on ahead. After they reached Strangland, Sonic brought out the radio and clicked on. "Tails, you there, buddy?" Wait. I'm sorry. I'm having trouble comprehending this. You mean that we have ne'er-do-well showing up in effect with crossover characters, and not once is anybody condemning the main six, telling them that they're wrong, making fun of them, insulting them, regarding them with hostility for what they did in that episode. We're just telling the story. We're just treating it as normal. Shocked. I am shocked. But, you see, Reality Check? It is possible. You don't need to do it. You don't need to give us a freaking mouthpiece. Elsewhere, with Tails' group, Tails was walking down a bridge, one of the roof areas, when he heard a voice through his radio. He ran under the roof, along with Spike, before pulling out the radio and clicked back. "I'm here, Sonic. What's going on?" To the radio, Sonic said, "We're still on ne'er-do-well's tail, but don't worry. The way she's going, we'll have her cornered pretty soon. How are things on your end?" Tails answered, "Pretty good. We haven't run into any trouble yet, and Twilight and Rarity really like the architecture here. They're looking at it along with Pinkie Pie right now. I think I'll get moving soon, though, seeing as we're going to have to cross the wire." Sonic spoke, "I get what you're saying. Rarity probably isn't going to want to take a swim, so you'll have to give her a lift." Tails said, "Yeah, I'll let you know if you find anything. Good luck, and be sure to let us know if anything comes up. Sonic replied, 10-4, good buddy. Good luck to you too. After a moment, Tails slid the radio back into his left tail. Spike spoke, catching Tails' attention. Well, Tails, looks like your radios really work. Tails tried. Well, for the first time they're being used, they seem to be working well. Let's all things considered, it's good. He and Spike then looked back to see Twilight, Rarity, and a bouncing Pinkie Pie, and a slightly cowering Fluttershy down the bridge. Tails asked, What's wrong with Fluttershy? Twilight answered, She said, Oh no. No. We're doing good, Vic. You know, we have some rocky relationships here and there, but you and I, we're doing decently. But this whole entire thing you've got going with Fluttershy, it's getting old. Stop. Right now. Cut it out. Yes, I get it. Fluttershy is meek. It's meek. But stop having her cower at every single fucking thing! It's not funny, it never has been funny, and it's used mostly as an excuse to turn her into a fuck doll. And what's worse, some of my riffers actually agree with the fuck doll idea. So, moving on. Spike asked, So, did you girls get done looking at whatever? Twilight replied, We were looking at the architecture, Spike, and I, for one, think it was very amazing. Rarity nodded, Oh yes, it's so much different from Ponyville and even Continent. I wonder if there's a place like Shunan somewhere in Nicosia. Well, there is a place called Napon. Twilight tried, I can look it up, Rarity. So he then looked at Tails and asked, So, where do we go now? Tails looked to his right and pointed, Netley, we had to go across the wire. Rarity gasped, Oh, bugger off, Vic. Just, no, we're not doing this. No. You have seen several episodes now. I do not mind walking through the water. The way I am being written right about now, you have to wonder how I'm able to even get out in the morning if I am so germophobic. Or how am I even able to talk to any of my friends? There is a middle ground, you know. Well, I could just carry you and we could skip the scene. I would really appreciate it. Tails replied, Okay, sure, come here. He started spinning his tails around, hovering around Rarity as she trotted over to him. He then held out his hands. Rarity looked down for a moment before holding up for a full host, allowing Tails to wrap his fingers around him. He then floated in the direction he needed to go. Suddenly, Pinkie cried, I want to try too. She danced over to the edge and looked at Rarity, wrapping her forelegs around the fastest his hind legs, causing her to let out a cry of her own as she and Tails were rattled. Once Tails managed to straighten out, Rarity looked down at the pink pony with an angry look on her face. Pinkie, don't do that! Pinkie grinned weakly. Sorry, Rarity. She then looked up at Tails with a look that was a mix of apologetic and sweet. Can I come too? Tails replied, Sure, just please don't do that again. He started flying forward again, albeit a little slower now. Fluttershy looked at Twilight and asked, What about you and Spike, Twilight? Twilight thought about this for a moment before saying, Why don't you take Spike with you, Fluttershy? She looked down a few segments of the stone pathway before going in the water below. I'll follow you, somehow, she finished. Spike shrugged. Alright, if you're comfortable, if you're sure you can handle that. He walked over to Fluttershy and climbed on her back, saying so she was comfortable he could get a good grip on her. Fluttershy looked at Twilight and spread her wings when she saw the unicorn nod at her. She then took off, following after Tails. Twilight looked back down at the floating stone for a moment, before taking a few steps back. She then ran towards the edge, leaping off with her hose in front of her. She loudly yelled when she landed on the stone, both from feeling the cool water touch her hose and the way the stone rocked when she landed on it. She waited a moment before looking to the next one. Nosy was closer to the scene. She took another running start and leapt to it, managing to land a little bear. You know, Twilight, there's this thing you could do, where you vanish from existence, then appear on the other side, flash of light, called teleportation. Maybe you should try that. She then hurried to the other end of it. It leapt up the ledge, grunting as she had to pull herself up. She managed to do so after a minute of struggling, sat down. Looking at him a second later, she saw Tails and Fluttershy were almost at the other end. She sighed. Oh, forget it. This isn't the time for this. Sucking in a breath of air, she began channeling her magic into her horn. Why did you wait? Why? On the other side of the water, Fluttershy landed on a submerged cobblestone and watched as Teal sat peeking Rarity down next to her. Rarity needing a bit of persuasion to be let down in the water. Tails looked around, landing, and asked, Where's Twilight? A second later, there was a magenta flash on top of the nearby stone structure, as Twilight teleported atop it. Tails looked up at it to the others and said, Oh, there you are, Twilight! Unicorn smiled sheepishly. Sorry. She then let down into the water and trotted over to the others. Which way do we go now? Tails pointed to the nearby stone wall, saying, Once we pass under that, it won't be much farther to the Gaia Temple. Spike spoke. Well, let's get going then. The others nodded and, with Spike still sitting on Fluttershy's back, started walking towards the opening. Just as they were about to walk through it, they heard a faint splash behind them and turned to look. Near where the cobblestone ended and the water got deep, they saw something red floating in the water. Tails and Twilight walked over to it, Tails wondering aloud, What's that? As they got closer, they could see it was a horn of some kind. Twilight thought it looked familiar, searched her brain for information pertaining to the strange object. When they were almost an arm's length away, it clicked. The Crystal Empire. She reared up our hind legs and grabbed Tails with her forelegs to stop him, saying, Stay away from that, Tails! The fox looked back at her and was about to ask what she was talking about, when the horn began to glow a bright, malevolent red, causing Twilight to let go of Tails as he backed away from it. As everyone watched, the horn floated up and fell back into the wire. The sharp end pointing down at the cobblestone. It sank into the stone itself. What just happened? Pinkie asked. She soon got her answer as a violet barrier suddenly blocked off the opening in the stone wall, and purple clouds suddenly began to rise up out of the ground around her. Rarity, Fluttershy, and Spike. Oh shoot, it finally happened. This fic has been going on so long, we finally managed to make it to season 3. Oh shit, we're at season 3. You know what that means? A whole slew of new characters to be introduced! Mother! Tails recognized those clouds all too well and called, Rarity! Fluttershy! Pinkie Pie! Get over here! Now! As the three mares quickly ran over Twilight and that, Spike still hanging on Fluttershy's back. As they stood together at once, the purple clouds dissipated, revealing a bunch of monsters. Most of them were about Spike's size, but there were several that were taller than Tails and the ponies, and one that was bigger than all of them, but they were mostly black, purple, and neon colored. Before anyone could ask him, Tails spoke, That guy has minions, but they're not supposed to be around anymore, especially not during the day. Twilight glanced back at where the horn had dissipated to the ground, remembering that it looked like part of King Sombra's horn. It must be that horn. There must be some kind of magic causing this, she said. She ran over to the spot where it disappeared to the ground while everyone watched, focusing her magic on the spot, saying, If that's what's behind this, maybe pulling it out will cause it to disappear. Pinkie Pie exclaimed, Look, they're coming over here! Everyone looked to see that she was right. Dark Guy's minions were coming closer. Stopping where she had been standing a second ago, Pinkie pointed at forward and said with a serious look on her face, Get the horn, Twilight! We'll cover you! Twilight asked, Are you sure? Tails looked back at Dark Guy's minions. Last time he encountered them, he was all alone and they surrounded him, forcing him to hide until Sonic saved him. This time was different, however. Getting into a fighting stance, he said, Yeah, we can keep him busy. Just focus on getting that horn out, Horn out! Twilight nodded and turned back to the spot, focusing her magic on it. Rarity spoke, Why do you consider my thing, but... She dropped to the fighting stance of her own, she growled, If anyone tries to hurt my fence, I'll rip it to pieces. Spike got off of Fluttershy's back and stood between Tails and Rarity, ready to help as well, while the Yellow Pegasus stayed behind them, and drooped down, covering her head with her hose. Smaller minions were easy to fend off. When a dark fright shot towards the group in a ram, Pinkie would turn her party cannon on it, sending it flying to the wall. The little Rexes, considering they were about as spies, were a bit of a challenge for Spike, but it was able to fend them off while the others had less difficulty dealing with them. The killer bees, however, could be stopped once they started flying forward with their stingers pointing towards. Rarity was able to use her magic to fight them slightly, and Spike was able to take them out quickly since they were, surprisingly, flammable. Due to their size, the nightmares were harder to find off, forcing the group to work together to bring them down. Spike was able to use his small size to knock him off balance, allowing Tails and Rarity to knock him back before Pinkie Pie used the party cannon to deliver the critical strike. When he were done, all he had left was Big Mother. As they watched, the Big Mother reared back and released a sponge of Rexes from his abdomen, the little creature spilling out to the ground. "Oh, come on, you can make more of them!" Spike groaned. Tails looked back over his shoulder and called, "English, Twilight!" While his head was turned, he was tackled by a Rex, setting him down on his back. As soon as he landed, he started struggling to get it off, and Spike ran over to help him. Twilight, her horn glowing brightly, gritted her teeth and grunted, "It's resisting, but I almost got it!" With one final grunt of exertion, Twilight succeeded, the horn glowing red as it hovered above the ground. So you looked back to see that the Rexes and Big Mother were still there. "They're still coming?" she gasped. Tails and Spike were finally able to pull the Rex off of the fox. Spike dealing with the Rex, and while Tails rolled onto the side and said, "Try to strike that horn! Maybe it'll stop him!" Twilight quickly turned around, saying not to waste time to seeing if she could perform the second knife correctly. Focused her magic to a beam and fired it at the horn. The horn tried to fight back against her magic, forcing her to pour more magic to her beam, but soon lost the fight, and Twilight's magic struck it. After a few seconds of being engulfed by the beam, the horn began to crack and break apart, the pieces dissipating into the air and then vanishing completely. Spike was still struggling with the Rex when it suddenly burst into a cloud of purple smoke, causing the baby dragon to stumble a bit before regaining his balance. Looking around, he saw all the Dark Gaia's minions bursting into smoke, vanishing in thin air. "What's happened to them?" he asked after a moment. Twilight wiped her forehead and said, "I guess they were being held together by the magic that the horn was giving off. Without it, they couldn't sustain themselves." Pinkie appeared next to her a moment later, wrapping a leg around her as she cheered, "Woohoo! Way to go, Twilight!" Twilight stood up, while using his hands. Tails stood up to brush off some of the water clinging to his fur, nodded. "You did all right, Twilight. Just in nick of time, too." As he was sure dry enough, he pointed towards the opening, barrier blocking off having faded away. He said, "We should probably get moving, though, before we get any other unwanted surprises." Rarity spoke. "Tails is right. We should head to the sky and tip it." She tried over to Flare's side and lightly tapped her on the shoulder while saying, "Come on." "No. No. Just come along, Fluttershy."
Not long afterwards, with Sonic's group.
Sonic, Applejack, Brayber, and Little Strongheart were running on the other end of their section of Chunan Wall. Maybe that's fine, just above their heads. Up to this point, Mare-do-Well had proved as slippery as ever, evading them as they made their way through the mountainous region, though surprisingly never using magic to aid her the entire time. Currently, the masked mare was ahead of them, as she was running out of room to run. As they continued running, they soon saw the end of the path. 3 pagodas in a circular area, surrounded by the part of the mountains, and the waterfalls coming down from the top. Brayburn, Applejack, and Little Strongheart started slowing down as he approached the small area, while Sonic slid to a stop while he was close enough. Rainbow Dash was gliding next to him. As she, Brayburn, and Little Strongheart caught their breath, Applejack panted, "Okay, where is that slippery mire?" Sonic and Rainbow looked around, Rainbow soon spotting a figure atop the pagoda in the middle. "There she is!" she exclaimed, spreading her wings and flying straight up towards Mare-do-Well. The masked mare stood motionlessly until Rainbow was about to hit her. At this point, she left the top of the pagoda to the roof to the pagoda on her left, causing Rainbow to miss. Sonic, however, anticipated this and dashed towards the pagoda, making his way up to the roof. Mare-do-Well's head turned around when Sonic landed a short distance away from her on the roof. The blue hedgehog ran towards her, dropping down, sliding towards her when he was close enough. The masked mare leapt over him and landing in the middle of the roof, and then, after they turned to face each other, tried to pounce on him. Sonic rolled out of the way, Mare-do-Well landing on the edge, but not falling. Once they recovered, they continued trying to grab and dodging each other. Rainbow Dash, meanwhile, had managed to avoid crashing into the mountain, and upon flying back, saw the scene taking place on the smaller pagoda. She quickly noticed that Mare-do-Well was trying to grab Sonic in any way she could, the sight reminding her of lightning dust. Sonic trying to grab her without knocking her off the roof or causing any harm. She flew down to her roof to help him out, landing on the side closest to the circle with Sonic on the opposite side, Mare-do-Well in the middle between them. Masked Mare looked between the two for a moment, as deciding what to do. Finally, she made a choice to try to leap back to the taller pagoda. Rainbow caught onto her this time, however, and managed to hit on one of her hind legs with one of her forehooves, throwing the mare off and causing her to fall short, instead landing on one of the sledge roots closer to the ground. She rolled upon landing and slid out to the side, though she managed to throw her forelegs and hang onto the edge of the roof. Braber in turn, you got her, yo! As soon as he said that, Maribel began to flare her hind legs. But she lost her grip on the roof and fell down, bumping into the roof on her way down and landing on her back. Almost as soon as she landed, however, she managed to roll over and flip her onto her hooves, so nothing had happened to her. Well, Halsey! Braber exclaimed. Little Strongheart lowered herself to the ground, saying, Come on, Applejack, let us put an end to this. Applejack nodded and lowered herself down as well. Before she and Little Strongheart took off, she called up to Sonic and Rainbow. Let me all stay up there in case he tries to make a break for the roost again. We'll take her care of down here. Well, she and Little Strongheart then took off. Little Strongheart going first to the left, while Applejack went to the right. When Little Strongheart got closer, Meadowell tried to jump over her, only for the buffalo to leap up and intercept her in midair, wrapping her forelegs around the wearer's waist. Before they could land, Meadowell spun around and managed to break out of Little Strongheart's grip, throwing the buffalo and causing her to land on her back, while the mare shakily landed on her hooves. She barely had time to recover when Applejack rammed into her head first from the side, knocking her to the stone between the two pagodas. The mare going over the stone and landing in the plants. Applejack then led them onto the stone a second later, looked down at Meadowell, who was lying on her side in the grass. Suddenly she stood up and leapt about Applejack, tackling her and then jumping off of her, running away. During all this, however, she evidently forgot about Brayburn and was surprised when he suddenly charged her, hitting her head first and knocking her down in mid-turn. She stood up and both butted heads, both trying to overpower the other. Brayburn managed to push her back a few moments and quickly turned around, bucked her with his hind legs, leaving her lying on the ground in front of Sarah's pagoda. When Meadowell stood up next, she found herself surrounded by Little Strongheart, Applejack, and Brayburn. She contemplated escaping to the roost again, but that plan was derailed when Rainbow Dash suddenly flew down from above, pushing her down to the ground while Sonic leapt down and landed behind Applejack. Rainbow turned Meadowell over and triumphantly said, All right, Meadowell, this mystery is solved! She then reached down with her mouth and yanked the mask off, and her eyes, along with everyone else's, went wide when she saw nothing underneath it. What the? She cried. Suddenly, there was a bright flash that forced everyone to look away. When they looked again, Meadowell was gone, costume and all. All that was left was Sakura's saddlebags. Brayburn exclaimed, Little Honey, she just disappeared! Applejack took off her hat and threw it down, saying, She was just an illusion, concern! There was no new Meadowell! She looked up and wondered, how come Twilight couldn't tell? Little Strongheart looked at her and suggested, Maybe it was because of the costume? Maybe whatever created that illusion made it hard to tell the difference? While they were talking, Sonic thought to himself, She faded away, kind of like King Arthur did when Caliburn and I defeated him in Avalon. When I brought back Excalibur Scalar, Merlina said, He spoke up, Wait a minute. Everyone stopped talking and looked down. Sonic looked at Rainbow and asked, Rainbow, while you were trying to catch her earlier, did Meadowell use any magic at all? Sonic Pegasus replied, No, she just kept doing those dodges. Why? Sonic said, When you tried to grab her back at the village, she used magic to teleport her out of the way. But when you tried to grab her here, she just dodged. Braver is Bert. I'm not sure I'm following you, partner. Sonic asked, If Meadowell was an illusion capable of using magic, why did she use it after we left the village? Applejack rubbed her chin with her hoof. Yeah, I pulled there, Sonic. So he used it before. Why won't she use it again? She looked up a moment later and asked, You think maybe somebody created that phony Meadowell to throw us off the trail? Sonic replied, You could be right, Applejack. That illusion could have been made by Meadowell we saw back in the village, which would mean she's still out there. Rainbow Dash asked, Why would she do that? Why would she create a copy of herself and just meant she split us up? She thought about what she said. The answer came to her and her eyes widened. The others! She must be after them! Applejack picked up her hat and Sakura's saddlebags, placing her hat on her head and saddlebags on her back. She then looked at Sonic and said, I got a warrant, Sonic. Can you reach Tails? Sonic reached into his quills and pulled out his radio. Clicking on it, he spoke. Come in, Tails. Are you there? He released the button and waited a moment. When no reply came, he pushed the button again and asked, Do you read me, Tails? It's Sonic! Does something happen? He released the button again, but still received no response. He looked at the others a moment later and said, He's not responding. Something might be jamming his radio. Rainbow looked worried at that. Oh man, they gotta be in trouble right now. We gotta help him. Little Strongheart asked, Sonic, can we get to the God Temple from where we are? Sonic tucked the radio back in his quills and responded, Not from here, but if we backtrack a bit, we'll have a straight shot to both the Gaia Gate and the Gaia Temple. We better start with the Gaia Gate in case they went there.
Elzek said, well, let's go then. Lead away, Sherlock. Sonic nodded, turned around, running back across the Tunon wall, with Applejack, Little Strongheart, Rainbow Daz, and Brayber in tow. He only hoped they weren't too late. Tails, Twilight, Rarity, Spike, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie walked past a small circular pond of water, which was right in the middle of the area outside the Gaia Temple. They passed by one of the 3 platforms along the outside of the circles. Rarity asked,
Sid, is this where the Gaia Temple is, Tails?
Tails nodded, yeah.
They reached the edge of the crevasse, and normally separated one from the temple entrance. They came to a stop, looking at a big crater in the ground on the other side.
But it looks like it's already been uprooted. I remember, after Sonic Chip defeated Dark Gaia, seeing the reports about the temples lifting out of the ground before darkness covered the world. But I guess they never returned after the world became normal again.
Twilight sighed.
That's a shame. Although I'd love to see what one of the temples looked like.
On the outside and inside. Pinkie bounced over to her friend and patted her on her back, saying,
Aw, we know you at Twilight. You love seeing things like that.
Spike looked at Twilight with a knowing smile before looking at Tails, noticing the fox appeared deep in thought.
Hey, Tails, what's on your mind? He asked.
Tails looked up and, after a moment, replied,
I was just thinking about the Temple Guardian.
Fluttershy asked,
There's a Guardian?
Tails nodded.
Yeah, some of the Gaia temples were protected by guardians of some sort. I know the temple in here in Junon did. I wonder if...
He was caught aroused by a loud thumping noise behind the group. He turned around to look.
Well, that answers my question,
he muttered. Spike and the ponies turned to look aghast when he saw a huge bird with bright gold fur and large purple wings standing on the center of the middle of the ring of wire. His tail's feathers seemingly waving in the breeze. It spread its wings and looked to the sky, letting out a cry. Once it was done, Twilight looked at Tails and asked, "What is that?"
Tails said, It's the Temple Guardian, the Gaia Phoenix.
Spike looked at the bird and asked, "The thing's a phoenix?" He thought to himself, "If Pee-wee gets old enough, will he look at that?" "Ha ha ha ha! Spike, you're not mature enough for a pet. Deal with it."
Piggy spoke, Okay, everybody, follow my lead.
As he let out a loud scream and started scrambling around in a panic. Rarity looked at Tails and asked,
Is it going to attack us? Donnie, what should we do?
Tails looked at her and said,
I don't know. Sonic said the reason it attacked any point before was because the Chaos Emeralds lost their power. Dark Gaia corrupted it. He's normal now, but...
He stopped short when he looked at the Gaia Phoenix. And Spike and the ponies, save for Pinkie Pie, followed a surprised look to see why they stopped. Fluttershy was snuggled up against the Gaia Phoenix's chest. Her wings holding her up as he rubbed the forelights through the bird's fur. Closer inspection reveals he had the feather Philomena had left her, tucked in between her mane and right ear.
So you're the guardian that makes his nest here. Oh, you're such a beautiful phoenix. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. It was a good Temple Guardian.
More of this, Fluttershy, please. The side Pegasus cooed, the Gaia Phoenix churring softly at her rubs and cooing. So Ike, Tails, and the ponies, save for Pinkie Pie, walked over to the Gaia Phoenix, standing at the edge of the circular pool. Looking at Fluttershy, Tails spoke.
Wow, I knew Fluttershy was good with animals, but this is incredible.
Rarity looked at him and smiled. That's on Fluttershy. She surprises us sometimes. Before Tails could respond, Pinkie ran behind everyone's back, still screaming her head off. Twilight turned and called, Pinkie! The party pony immediately stopped and popped up in front of Twilight, asking,
Yes, Twilight?
The other unicorn said, I think it's safe now. So he looked back over Fluttershy and asked, Is it? The side Pegasus nodded, so Twilight turned back to Pinkie and said, So you can stop now. The party pony replied,
Okay.
Spike spoke up a moment later. You know, this is great and all, but we still don't know where our friends are.
Tails said, You're right, Spike. Come to think of it, it's been a while since Sonic checked in with me. Maybe they found something, or at least caught Marinawell.
Reese's tail pulled out a radio. He tried turning it on, only to be met with static.
That's strange, I can't get a signal. It's like there's something blocking it.
Twilight asked, So what should we do now? Everyone looked at the Gaia Phoenix as it began to churn. Once it was done, Fluttershy spoke.
The Gaia Phoenix said it said something earlier in the Gaia Gate. It thinks that some sort of, tear occurred there.
Tails held a hand to his chin.
A tear? Might be caused by that creature.
He looked at the others and said,
The Gaia Gate isn't far from here. Let's go check it out.
Spike shrugged. Sure, why not? We've been doing nothing but running around since we got to Phyllis anyway.
Twilight looked up at Fluttershy and said, "Come on, Fluttershy, time to get off to Phoenix." Fluttershy muttered,
Oh,
She looked at the guy at Phoenix and said,
goodbye, Mr. Phoenix, and thank you.
The bird chirped in response. Fluttershy lowered herself to the ground, folding her wings when she landed. The Phoenix watched as the group set up for the Gaia Gate. Before they left, Pinkie stopped in mid-stride and gasped, Nears stopped and looked back at her as he turned to look at the Gaia Phoenix. She raised her muzzle, pulled out her puffy tail, and brought out an open chocolate bar. So he had held it up towards the Phoenix and said in a muffled tone, "You want your chocolate?" The Gaia Phoenix replied by reaching down, taking the chocolate bar from her with its beak. Spreading his wings, it flew away a couple seconds later. Everyone waving to it, and Teal smiling as Pinkie's actions reminded him of Chip. Soon, Tail, Spike, Twilight, Rarity, Pinkie Pie, and Fluttershy stepped to the Gaia Gate. All of them standing in front of the door on the right side and looked around. First thing they noticed was that aside for some lit torches, it was dark inside. All the same, the Gaia Gate's interior looked impressive to them.
Wow, this is amazing,
Twilight breathed.
Rarity nodded. It certainly is that idea. Don't start analyzing it now, though. You'll have plenty of time to do that while we search.
Twilight nodded to her. Rarity turned to Tails and asked,
Where do we begin, Tails?
Tails held a hand to his head as he thought about what Sonic had told him about the Gaia Gates.
There should be 4 chambers in this particular Gaia Gate. 2 on the left and 2 on the right. If there's anything hidden here, it'll be in those chambers. We should be able to split up, search the chambers, and report back here. Sound good? Pinkie spoke. Yep! I could get one of those chambers on the left.
Tails nodded.
Alright, Pinkie.
He then turned to Fluttershy and said,
Fluttershy, why don't you come with me? We can check the other chamber together so you don't have to do it alone.
Fluttershy smiled.
Okay, Tails, just stay close to me, okay?
Tails nodded, placed a hand on her shoulder to reassure her. Rarity turned to Twilight and Spike and said,
I suppose that means also the 2 chambers on the left.
Twilight nodded. I guess so.
Do you want Spike to come with you, Rarity?
The baby dragon looked eager to hear the Fashionistas' response at that. Unfortunately for him, Rarity replied,
That's okay, darling. You take Spike. This place is looking a little dusty, but I think we'll be able to handle myself.
Spike looked disappointed at that.
Tails spoke. Okay, we'll meet back up here in 5 minutes, tops. How's that sound?
They all nodded in agreement, Spike doing a little less so enthusiastically.
Aw, poor baby! I'm sorry to tell you this, Spike, but Rarity is a grown mare, capable of doing things on her own. She doesn't need a big, brave, strong dick to protect her.
Maybe, if you want to get into her good graces, you should consider that she is strong and capable on her own, and think about her less as a beauty object and more as a pony with her own abilities. Twilight lifted the baby dragon onto her back with her magic, before they started down the ramp leading to the Gaia Gate. They split off at the bottom, each heading into their respective chambers. Pinkie hopped into the upper left chamber, Tails and Fluttershy went to the lower left chamber, Rarity trotted to the lower right chamber, and Twilight and Spike walked to the upper right chamber. As soon as they were in the corridor leading to the chamber, and out of earshot of the others, Twilight looked back at Spike and said,
Spike, stop pounding already.
Rarity's right next door. It's not like we're far apart and won't be able to go to help if she needs it.
So, help me search this chamber. You don't know. Maybe Rarity would like it if you helped out. She is the bearer of generosity, after all.
Spike looked at her. You think so? Twilight shrugged.
Can't hurt to try, can it?
Spike looked a little better at that. By this time, they reached the end of the corridor and were now standing in the chamber proper. Twilight looked forward a few steps and looked to the left. She and Spike could see some kind of conveyor belt that was moving in their direction. Twilight wondered what was powering it, but decided that would wait until later. So instead, she walked over to a nearby opening in the wall and went through it, stopping for a moment under a beam of sunlight coming in through the ceiling. Suddenly, Spike stiffened up and looking behind him, asking, "What was that?" Twilight looked back at him.
What's wrong, Spike?
The baby dragon looked back at her and said, "I thought I heard something behind us." Twilight raised an eyebrow and turned around, walking back to the chamber entrance and lighting up her horn with her magic. The light brightened up the entrance a little bit, but it revealed nothing. She looked to the left and right before saying,
Doesn't look like there's any pony here. Are you sure, Spike?
The baby dragon relaxed a bit, saying, "Maybe it was just the Gaia Gate." Twilight wasn't sure, but decided not to voice her opinion. So she turned around and went back to the way she had been going, passing under the beam of sunlight again as she went through the opening in a wall beyond it. Looking to the left and right, Twilight and Spike saw 2 openings in the wall to get searched. After a moment, Twilight spoke. See if there's anything on the right, Spike. I'll look to the left. Spike saluted and hopped off their back, running through the opening in the wall, while Twilight toward the other one. Twilight reached the opening and peered inside, only to be met with a small, square-shaped room on the other side. She sighed. Nothing here. Better go see if Spike needs any help. She was about to turn and walk towards the other opening, when suddenly she heard a noise from the other end of the chamber. What was that? She wondered as she turned to look. The other end of the conveyor belt, there was a portal on the wall across from it. It looked like the air portals the group had seen thus far, so Twilight leaned forward to get a better look at it. Or she could see what was flowing on the surface. Dark purple aura suddenly wrapped around her, pushed her forward onto the conveyor belt. Twilight let a yelp as she was pushed forward and scrambled for a moment when the belt started pushing her forward. As she was getting close to the conveyor belt, she looked up and saw the mysterious Ne'er-do-well standing in front of the belt just to deposit her. The next few moments were a blur. As she reached the end of the conveyor belt, Ne'er-do-well reached back on her hind legs and grabbed Twilight with her forelegs. The masked Ne'er-do-well fell on her back, lifting her hind legs up as she hit the ground, kicking Twilight with them. Her unicorn saddlebags falling off her back as she was sent flying, hind legs first into the portal. At this particular moment, Spike came back researching his room, now looking for Twilight. Hey, Twilight, where are you? I didn't find anything in there. Did you find anything? He trailed off near the end of his sentence as he looked towards the other end of the conveyor belt and saw Ne'er-do-well standing there, holding Twilight saddlebags in her magic grip. The masked mare looked at him for a moment before turning and jumping into the portal herself. Almost immediately, Spike dashed towards the conveyor belt, calling, Hey, stop! He was briefly thrown out by the conveyor belt, pushing him forward, but he recovered and kept running. As he reached the end of the belt, he led towards the portal, only to have it close at an inch away from it. Spike crashed into the wall where he had been head first. Landing on his rump, he peeled off a moment later. As rubbing his face, he looked up where the portal had been, only thought going through his head being, Oh man, oh man, oh man! He quickly stood up, ran out of the chamber, screaming, Tails!